Hello, my friends. Dr. Mabanta. I was thinking about the understanding of chiropractic care and the general understanding in the public, and I think there is some still misunderstanding to some degree, and I think there is also a different healthcare model that's used in the mainstream allopathic medical doctor type of care compared to a natural or a holistic healthcare model. And so understanding the difference in those areas and what some of the principles are behind the natural healthcare model will help you to get a better understanding of chiropractic. So two areas that we look to and we utilize for basic premises and concepts in natural healthcare is the function of the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system. So if you take a look at the automatic or the autonomic nervous system, it has two basic modes. It has the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So the sympathetic is your emergency mode or your fight or flight mode. It's the part of your nervous system that's activated when you're stressed, worried, concerned, frightened. And it's designed to protect you from a physical threat in the environment. So if we go back to the developmental or adaptive mechanism for human beings, when we were in a natural environment, it was necessary and beneficial to be able to react quickly when we were threatened by a wild beast or some other type of physical threat, to move quickly. So that sympathetic nervous system is designed to move you in the direction of running away or fighting or doing physical battle. So gearing your body for physical activity. So a lot of energy and attention and focus of your nervous system is to move your skeletal system, your musculoskeletal system. As a result, some of the other functions of the body are kind of lessened or put on the back burner, if you will. Things like digestion, reproduction, immune function, cellular replication, higher creative or cognitive activity is lessened because it's not really necessary when you're having to run away from that animal. The problem is when you're in a contemporary society and that fear response is being initiated or triggered all the time, and it might be instead of a wild animal or a boulder falling on you, it might be a mortgage payment or a family issue or some type of threat in the community that you're experiencing as a threat, and your body's interpreting that as a physical threat, and it's initiating that physical response. So lessening the other things. That's why if you notice when they're worried and concerned, what type of gastrointestinal issues come up? Ulcers, colitis, poor digestion, gastric reflux. Because why? Your gastric function is lessened during those times of stress. So if you're in the stress mode, your nervous system is going to be directed more towards physical activity opposed to gastrointestinal function. Or you might get sick more frequently. You might fall prey to a virus or bacteria when you're sympathetic nervous system dominant, because your nervous system is again designing you or preparing you for fighting or running away, and it's not thinking too much in terms of fighting off a virus or a bacteria or an allergen. So you can see how the nervous system and its automatic responses can actually be putting you in an area where your health is lessened. The other side of the coin is your parasympathetic nervous system. So your parasympathetic nervous system is sometimes termed feed or breed or rest and digest, because it's geared towards when you're not threatened to running your autonomic nerve, to running your digestion, your immune function, your cellular replication, your higher creative or cognitive activity. So when you're not threatened physically, your parasympathetic nervous system can function. So you can see how understanding the automatic nervous system, or your natural biological or evolutionarily designed processes, can shift the direction of your health. It's important to know this because by understanding these concepts, you can use it to enhance your health and decrease the stress mode. One of the ways to reduce stress to your nervous system is the chiropractic adjustment. By reducing mechanical irritation or torquing or twisting or pressure on your nervous system, you will take your nervous system out of a sympathetic dominant mode and shift it back into a parasympathetic mode. This is why when people get a chiropractic adjustment, they feel more relaxed, at ease. They see things like their immune system improve. They see gastrointestinal things clear up. A variety of different conditions get better with chiropractic care because we're shifting the nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. So understanding the evolutionary and biophysics and biophysiology of your nervous system is important to understand health in general. Also, the fear response is triggered relatively easily because in a natural environment, if we know what's wrong or worried or concerned or dangerous to us, it would essentially save our lives. So the human perception is geared more in the direction for looking at what's wrong, what the problem is, where there's danger, because it's so deeply entrained as our protective mechanism. The problem with that is if you're always worried or concerned or looking at what's wrong or where the problem is, your nervous system is going to be more sympathetic dominant. You're going to be more fight or flight. So with that understanding, you have to take an active measure to bring your thought process and your mind in the direction of a more peaceful or a more harmonious manner. And I think many disciplines have tried to and have recognized the importance of that. You see concepts of love and caring and sharing and peace and tranquility emphasized in pretty much every spiritual discipline across the planet. You see it also in psychology. We understand a more peaceful mind creates a stronger, healthy physiology. So the evolutionary sciences, the function of your autonomic nervous system, are areas that we look at when we're addressing natural health care and balancing those natural tendencies. The natural tendency to move more in the direction of fight or flight, the tendencies to gravitate towards certain foods, for example. So say simple carbohydrates or sugar. If you ever notice, we love sugar. Most people love sugar. It's because in a natural environment, if we were to find a simple carbohydrate, it would help us to have a greater probability of survival. It'll give us instant energy. It'll create some fat storage so that we'll have energy for later on. And it will enhance the nutritional profile of a person in a natural environment. The problem is simple carbohydrates are relatively sparse in a natural environment. If you go into your local woods and you walk around, you're not going to find a lot of sugar. And if you do find sugar, it'll probably be seasonal in the form of fruit, and it'll only be a short period of time. Or honey, for example, you might find. And interestingly enough, you'll notice that those ripened fruits are usually towards the end of the season, where you're heading into a more sparse time of the season, like winter, where you wouldn't have as much of those. So you can see a natural tendency towards carbohydrates will also be damaging in an environment where those carbohydrates are present all the time. If we have a bombardment or too much exposure to those carbohydrates or too much utilization of those carbohydrates, it's going to drive us in the direction of imbalanced health, sugar issues, insulin tolerance, acidity in the body by formation of lactic acid, acetaldehyde, all these biochemical byproducts of sugar metabolism. So lower carbohydrates. So understanding that, yes, we love carbohydrates, and we have to imply and implement restriction in that area and use other things to suppress that attraction towards carbohydrates, like exercise or using healthy fats in the diet, for example. So there's some general concepts of how we approach health from a natural point of view, opposed to treating symptoms with medicine or a medical approach or a symptomatic approach, like lowering a fever if your temperature goes up, or if you have a cough, suppressing the cough. If you have too much acid in the stomach, reduce the acid secretions or stop the acid secretions with medication. Those are some of the approaches that you take with a medical approach, which is sometimes helpful for short-term emergency care. But in terms of long-time overall health enhancement and prevention, the natural approach has proven to be most effective. So chiropractic obviously relies on those natural tendencies and understanding. And when you come to see a chiropractor, those are the areas that will be utilized for your health care. So keep thinking health, and I'll talk to you next time.